for them often is to get caught up in our electrical systems, whether it's making lights flicker or causing a song to come on the radio that is important or significant in some way. They will also knock over lightweight items. For instance, in my book, I mention a friend named Helen who died in Phoenix, and I wasn't able to be with her or there for her funeral because I wasn't aware that she had passed. And she knocked over two things in my household the day that I received word from her daughter that she had died. And those two items were a little perfume atomizer thing that she'd given me and some wind chimes, and she knocked them both over. And only those things fell to the floor on that day. So I knew that it was her. There's always a signature in whatever sign they give you.
Now, your book promises to help awaken the reader's soul senses. What are they?
They're very similar to our physical senses, but they're interior senses. They would be the type of senses we use when we're sleeping. You can ask people, how did you see the things in your dream? Because your eyes were shut. And, that's clairvoyance. That's the inner vision ability. Clairvoyance is often considered to be for seeing the future, but in the parlance of the medium, it means being able to see the dead or being able to see images that the dead instill in your mind. That's one example. Clairaudience is another, where we smell cigarette smoke or we smell a certain perfume that we would associate with that dead loved one.
And the sense of smell is one of the most sensitive for memory recall, so I guess they would use that.
Exactly.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Now, can a person sense the presence of a spirit with just his regular senses?
Yes. And that's what was happening to Jody, the graphics artist that I was hiring. She was literally hearing things go bump in the night, and her cat was acting very on edge and, arching its back and kind of hissing at nothing in the hallway and those sorts of things. And animals are much more sensitive than we are, and they have a much wider spectrum of sensibility. And so she was physically, though, hearing things kind of go bump and seeing odd things happen. Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah, I know animals are very sensitive to the spirits. I did a story years ago about a man who lives near the Drummond Hill Cemetery in Niagara Falls, where the Battle of Drummond Hill took place, and his dog kept on going to a certain part of the house and just looking and barking and growling. And finally, a friend of his who was a carpenter opened the wall, and they found a piece of clothing that through the museum network they were able to trace back to a soldier who had died and who had lived on that site in a house that had been taken down years before the house that this new owner bought, that was causing the dog to act very strange, and who alerted them to something in the wall. So animals are very, very, very intuitive.
Yeah. And a wider range of senses. If we blow a dog whistle, you and I won't hear it, but probably every dog on the block will.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of talk about chakras, and I was wondering if you could explain to our listeners what they are and how they can help the living communicate with the dead.
Oh, that's such a good question. Chakras are high energy points along our bodies, starting with the top of our head, the crown chakra, and going to the eyebrow level, the brow chakra. The throat chakra can include even your shoulders, and so often when I sense a spirit visiting, I'll feel a tingle around my shoulders. Your heart and your chest compose the heart chakra. And then you go down to the solar plexus, which is below your diaphragm. It's sort of just above your stomach. And again, each one of these chakras is sensitive to certain things. For instance, when a pet dies, I often find that people get stimulation in their solar plexus. They may get a warm glow that suddenly sort of assuages their grief. But there are other chakras. There's the sacral chakra and the root chakra, but those are more usually meant to sort of anchor you when you're doing a meditation on your chakras, to anchor you to the earth, so that you don't feel like you're slipping out of body or something when you're doing meditation on your chakras. And science has now found that these energy points actually do resonate faster than the rest of our bodies.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. You mentioned out-of-body experiences, and you said if you unintentionally slip into an out-of-body experience, is there a danger in doing that?
Well, there is, and I don't think that you'd get into a situation where you couldn't get back into your body, but some people get scared and don't like that sensation, and so they may want to work first on concentrating on the base of their spine, the root chakra, to sort of anchor them to the earth before doing a meditation.
Let me ask you this. We've got to go for our news in about a minute, but I've been told by people that that jolt feeling you get sometimes in bed.
A cold feeling?
No, a jolt. Like
a jolt?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's like a sudden fit or start kind of a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been told that this is, some people believe and have told me that this is you're returning from an out-of-body experience, or you're just zapping back into your body. What's your opinion on that?
When it's happened to me, most often I've been dreaming that I was falling and suddenly hit the ground. So generally I'd associate it with that kind of a feeling.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. I would look at your dream at the time that it happens and see what that means at the time that it happens.
All right, Janice, stand by. You and I have to take our news break. Exonation. Okay. Janice Carlson is our special guest, www.janicecarlson.com. And when we come back, we have this week's Stargaze by Elizabeth Joyce. And then Janice is back to join us to talk about her book entitled Soul Sensing, How to Communicate with Your Dead Loved Ones. My name's Rob McConnell. This is The X Zone. We'll be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away. Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships, not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com, $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598. Now you can dial in to listen to the X Zone radio show from anywhere in the world with Rob McConnell 24/7, 365 by dialing 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080. If you have a mobile phone or landline, the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell is now at your beck and call at 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080, 24/7, 365.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Joyce with Stargazing on the X Zone, the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2014. A favorable trine between willful Sun and the intense Pluto gives us the power to transform the darkest reaches of our unconscious minds into the light of love. Because Pluto, the planet of transformation, is connecting with the Sun in Taurus, you can indulge in new ways of thinking and see things not for what they are, but for what they could be. unlimited realities. On Cinco de Mayo, Monday, the moon is in Leo, which really knows how to throw a party. The cosmic ups and downs of recent months begin to even out as May delivers a dose of steady Taurus energy. Mercury slides into Gemini on Wednesday, where it enjoys the status of the favorite sun. Sales, marketing, and social networking will be busting with new ways to connect that have never been tried before. Change can cause conflict. Conflict brings about change. This is a time in the cycle of human affairs when things need stirring up and when the hint of dramatic change is in the air, especially with politics. In order to succeed, revolutionary change must be in alignment with certain unchanging natural laws. The process must begin at the right moment, gather support from a broad base of people, be guided by sincere and capable leadership, and, most important of all, must address a real need. The strength of the focus of change will always be in proportion to the urgency of the need being championed. This is true whether the revolution is in government, in business, in education, or in one's personal affairs. Revolutionary change points a time when chaos arises from order. It is important to realize that not all order is good and not all chaos is bad. Chaos, in fact, is an integral part of the way things, as any parent in modern science will confirm, happen. Have the courage to radically change and renew the way you present yourself. In this way, you can summon chaos to your cause, and you will unleash a new power on your behalf. If engaging in a negotiation, change the rules. If composing a piece of music, add the unexpected. If courting a lover, dare to be unconventional. Saturday brings obstacles as you really want change as well as to be loved. The moon is in Libra for Mother's Day. There are numerous ongoing challenges all that day, so don't allow obstacles and hurts from the past to be reignited. Just go with the flow and plan to call it an early evening.
And for more information on Elizabeth Joyce or how you can contact Elizabeth for a private one-on-one consultation, visit her website at www.new-visions.com. That's www.new-visions.com. And Elizabeth does readings around the world via Skype. Exonation, my guest this hour is the author of Soul Sensing, How to Communicate with your Dead Loved Ones. Her name is Janice Carlson. She's a medium and psychic, and her website is www.janicecarlson.com. Janice, how can we encourage visitation from our dead loved ones?
Well, one of the ways is to ask for it aloud, preferably when you're alone, so you don't have any explaining to do to the living. But, ask for a visit, or say, when this strange synchronicity happened or coincidence, was it you the other night, Mom, that visited me? And within about 24 to 48 hours, often you will receive some sort of confirmation of that. Also, the elements of life attract spirits, and this is why elements like water and fire and the earth. So people say, I do get visited when I'm gardening, and I'm wondering why, Also, when we're driving, and so you're driving a vehicle through the wind, and that's the element of air and wind. And so those are, again, quiet times. They tend to be times when we're alone. And this is why you often hear people complain about being visited when they're in the shower, is because of the water element. And, just the isolation, you're alone and there isn't much noise around generally.
Fascinating. Let me ask you this. With all the years of experience that you have, is there anything that people should fear or worry about when trying to communicate with the other side? Are there such a thing as bad spirits that they should be careful of?
Yeah, absolutely, and I have some tips about that in my book, many tips actually, so that you go in confirming the identity of the person you're speaking to before you get going into a conversation. It's very rare that people who are seeking a deceased loved one or pet or whatever are going to have a problem with a nasty spirit getting involved, but it can happen.
It can.
And so there are steps in my book for just preventing that sort of thing from happening, yeah.
when someone is communicating or trying to communicate,